everybody. Thanks for joining me, and a happy Wednesday to you all. I'm glad to have you here. Let's get going. I recently, in a video, asked people to send me in questions, which I will endeavor to answer. Not that I'm the shell answer man or an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I just thought it'd be fun to hear what you're saying and give you my opinions, which is pretty much what I do on this channel anyway. What is today? Wednesday. So we're 2 days away from the summit in Alaska. Still hoping, still praying. A lot of you know a lot of the folks that I reference and I follow myself. I pan for gold for news all over the place, both in media, online, as far as newspapers, quote unquote. And I also listen to a lot of different pundits. I've mentioned all these before. One of the ones that has shot to the top of my list lately is the great Robert Barnes, and I've recommended that you listen to him before. This guy is just tremendous. He is a rock star, and he has a really bright future. Robert Barnes is an attorney, but he's also a pundit of sorts. He has his own podcast with Viva Frei, who's another Canadian, transplanted Canadian, now living in Florida. VIVAFREI. That's his YouTube channel if you want to check it out. They're on there regularly. And I guess Robert Barnes' most famous current case, he is representing Amos Miller in Pennsylvania. Amos Miller is an Amish man. He runs a farm, and he has been facing all sorts of holy hell and restrictions and lawsuits from the state of Pennsylvania because he has the audacity to sell his farm products, his milk and his eggs and his cheese and all the things that he grows naturally on his farm. And the state of Pennsylvania said, no, you can't do that. And they are bringing all these different lawsuits and restrictions against Amos Miller. Suing an Amish man. Give me a break. I mean, is there any more great American than an Amish? I mean, these are people who just eschew modern society, and they're still literally in horse and buggy days. When I go out to southwest Missouri to take Marina, who says hello, by the way, she's still there, to visit with her folks, there's a large Amish community, and I'll be coming in on this large four-lane U.S. highway that's divided. You know, it's got a median and 2 lanes on either side, and it's not an interstate, but it's a federal highway. It has emergency lanes. I think it's either Highway 60 or 63, I forget which. And you'll be going down the road 70, 75 miles an hour, and there in the emergency lane in southwest Missouri are Amish people with a horse and buggy going down the road in a horse and buggy in the emergency lane, dressed up in their heavy clothes, the men and the women, in these long dresses and the bonnets. I mean, it's like you're looking back at Little House on the Prairie or something. It's taken a step back into time. And there are Amish communities around I don't know where I know there's a big Amish community presence in Ohio, but this one is in Missouri, and you've got to be careful because you're in a car and they're being pulled by a horse. But these are good and decent people. I don't know if that's the kind of lifestyle I'd want to live. I mean, I need refrigeration and I need dentistry at least. But God bless the Amish. I mean, they're law-abiding people. They keep to themselves. They're just the epitome of being an American, if you ask me. But their state is suing them because they're trying to conduct private business with other people, which is nonsense. If you've got a product that you produce and you want to sell it, and I want your product, and we come together and we negotiate a price for your product, then everybody wins. You get my money, I get your product, I'm happy, you're happy, end of transaction, and we shake hands and go our separate ways. But the state of Pennsylvania say, no, we can't have any of that. Well, that's ridiculous. It's none of your business. You don't need a third party horning in. They're like the person that came to the party you threw, but you didn't invite them. This just aggravates me to no end. But he's got Robert Barnes on his side. This case should be over by now. I mean, this is something that, I wish the federal government could step in, Trump's government could step in and do something. Of course, then you're talking about Pam Bondi, so don't get your hopes up. But anyway, I get sidetracked, I'm sorry. Robert Barnes is very positive about what's going to happen this Friday in Alaska. But he is also saying that success of this summit is predicated upon the things that I've been talking about, which is that Trump has got to say no. He's got to eschew. You like that word? Fancy, huh? He has to eschew the neocons. And he has got to go in there understanding that the only path to success is a cessation of this war, which absolutely means concessions to Putin. It's got to be that way, folks. Trump has got to realize the only way this is going to end is by him conceding in some measure to Putin. And this is what Barnes is saying, and he's exactly right. And he actually believes something like this is going to happen. I hope and pray Robert Barnes is right. Fantastic guy. You need to look him up and listen to him. If you would enjoy him, I do believe. Okay, now, I said in the recent video, send me your questions at my email address, which is down below every video. I got 3 or 4 questions from my buddy Tracy up in Minnesota that I want to try and answer. Her first question is this: what do you think about Trump's future for the next 6 months? That's a good question. What about Trump in the next 6 months? We are 7 months into his presidency? So 6 more months, roughly around the 1st of 2026. What do you think about him for the next 6 months? My answer is this: it depends on who he listens to, Tracy. It depends on who he takes his counsel from. There's people in the White House that don't need to be there. One of them is the gatekeeper. And I'm talking about Susie Wiles, who is Donald Trump's chief of staff. When Donald Trump announced her as his chief of staff, I didn't like this. This was back before he was sworn in. And I was thinking at the time that maybe she was just a transitional chief of staff, but she's still hanging in there, and she's the gatekeeper. Now, that's problematic because Susie Wiles has formerly been aligned with the Bushes. That's never a good thing. And she's the gatekeeper. She's the chief of staff. She is the person who is the last line of defense for Donald Trump. She decides who gets in to see him and who doesn't get in to see him. And I think she needs to go. And hopefully she will resign after a year or so. I don't know. That remains to be seen. It depends on who he listens to. And, of course, there needs to be some more cleansing of his administration. I would love to see Pam Bondi replaced. Pam Bondi's got to go. She is a detriment to Donald Trump's administration. She is doing nothing. There's nothing more. She's doing little. There's so much more by this point in August that should have been done. But she is more obsessed, apparently, with her Fox News interviews. And this is absurd. She needs to get back in there and do her job. Now, Ted Nugent, the rocker, everybody likes old Ted, unless you're woke. Ted noted the other day that he noted the number of arrests under Pam Bondi, and this is what he said. There have been no arrest for the Russia collusion hoax. There have been no arrest for the January 6th debacle. There have been no arrest for the Mar-a-Lago raid. He's right. There have been no arrest for the Biden auto pen scandal. There have been no arrest for the 2020 election fraud. There have been zero arrests for the Epstein pedophile scandal. There have been no arrest for the COVID scandal. Fauci's still out there, Anthony Fauci. There have been no arrest for the Benghazi debacle. There have been no arrest for all the Doge findings. There have been no arrests for the Afghanistan withdrawal that cost 13 Americans their lives. He didn't say that, but I threw that in. And there have been no arrests for the Ukrainian impeachment hoax. None of this. Now let's remember, just in case you don't know, all this mess in Ukraine started under Lord Obama at least. It was the American CIA who backed rebels in Ukraine in the year 2014 and toppled the legitimately elected government of Ukraine. This was the beginning of, or maybe not the beginning, but it was part of the manifestation of Project Ukraine and the transformation of Ukraine into a NATO country that would basically be a permanent base for potential war against Russia. Everybody wanted this. The Obama administration wanted it. The EU wanted it. And we toppled the legitimate government of Ukraine, thereby making victims of the Ukrainian people, eventually, not immediately, but eventually inserting this puppet, pervert, comic Zelensky as a figurehead leader. And now Zelensky, as we know, has suspended elections. He's incarcerated clergy. He has closed churches. He's made it illegal to worship in a certain church in Ukraine. And the Ukrainian people hate him. This all started a little bit before Obama actually, but it came to a head in 2014 with Barack Hussein Obama and his allies in Congress, neocons John McCain and Lindsey McCain Graham. You remember them going to Ukraine and celebrating the overthrow of the government at the hands of the CIA. Man, did I get sidetracked there, but that's okay. The bottom line is we've had no arrest under Pam Bondi for all the things that I just mentioned. This is why, folks, she's got to go. All these people, there needs to be arrest. The hoax about the Russian involvement in the election, the January 6th hoax, all these different things I mentioned. There are people right now who perpetrated these hoaxes on the American people that need to be in jail right now. But Pam Bondi is not doing a blooming thing, as far as I can tell, about any of it. Now, let's move on. I just got a text from my sweetheart, and I told her, I'll be right with you. I'm filming. Marina says, hey, everybody. All right, question number 2. Do you think he can stop the Ukrainian war? Can he? Yes, he absolutely can. Now, we're going to find out some answers this Friday. Can he stop it? Yes. Will he stop it? That remains to be seen. As I said yesterday, if Donald Trump, it might be a tall order, but if Donald Trump will simply keep the neocons at length, then we can have success and a successful end to the war. It's all depending on Donald Trump's will. If Donald Trump wants to do the right thing and go down in history as a truly great president who stopped this war between Russia and the United States, and that's exactly what it is, history will judge him very kindly, I predict. And I'm just hoping and praying that he knows this. I'm encouraged by the recent comments over the weekend by J.D. Vance that we are done sending money to Ukraine. That is a very encouraging sign. So can he stop the war? Yes. Will he is the question. That remains to be seen. I hope and pray that he can. The war is going to end one way or another. Either Russia's just going to keep plugging along, and nobody's going to stop them, folks. I'm telling you. Russia, as I have said, is going to win this war. It's like a boxer just pummeling some guy in the ring, and he's looking at the referee saying, do you want to stop this or not? That's what's going on. Nothing's going to stop them from victory. It's going to happen. It's going to happen this week, or it's going to happen next year or in 5 years, but it's going to end favorably for Russia one way or another. Hopefully Trump understands that and will act accordingly. All right, question number 3. Do you think Donald Trump can stop the Israeli-Gaza war? Again, can he? I think he could. Will he? Probably not. Probably not. And I'm going to tell you why. I'll give you 100 million reasons why he will not. And that is because he took $100 million from Sheldon, the late Sheldon, and his wife Miriam Adelson during his campaign. Sadly, Donald Trump, like the majority of politicians in Washington, D.C., are recipients of vast sums of money from the Israel lobby. AIPAC tracks this, of course. And Donald Trump has taken massive sums of money. And these are people who obviously their priority is Israel. And when people give you this kind of money, there's kind of perhaps an unspoken understanding that you're going to play ball their way. Trump, of course, sees Israel as our ally. I do not. I think we've been hoodwinked. But now I have read recently and heard that Donald Trump has been at odds with Bibi Netanyahu. And Donald Trump understands the carnage, the genocide that is happening in Gaza at the hands of Netanyahu, and he's told him basically to knock it off. But I don't know that that's happening. Yes, it is genocide. Yes, it is ethnic cleansing. Yes, Palestinians are starving to death. Some people were saying, no, that's not happening. Look at these pictures of all these. It is happening, folks. He is starving these people out. He wants them all gone. You know where he wants them, by the way? He wants them here. He wants them in America. But this is their land. This is the land of Christ. Don't get me started on this again. This has got to stop. Trump, I believe, could bring an end to this, but whether or not he will, I don't know. That just remains to be seen. If he would stop listening to the donor class that is giving him money in exchange for his support for Israel, if he'd stop doing that, we might have a chance here. But as you see, so many of our politicians, they take money from Israel and they fly to Tel Aviv, they go to the Wailing Wall, put on a yarmulke, and they might be a Baptist, but they do it anyway. Hello, Mike Johnson. This just annoys me to no end. I don't care how much you love Israel or Italy or Brazil or whoever or Cuba. But if you're an American politician, should your allegiance not be first and foremost and only to us, the American people who put you in office in the first place? Stop going to Israel. Stop going to these other nations, for heaven's sakes, unless you're on vacation or something. Get your head in the game, man. You represent us. You're an American. Act like it. Be America first. Okay, and then let's see. Now, this is a good question. Do you think Donald Trump will ever get friendly with Canada again? Maybe tomorrow. Today, no. Tomorrow, maybe. Now, why do I say that? Donald Trump has a pesky habit of waffling. We've seen this before. He'll come out in opposition to somebody or something, only to reverse course a day or two later or whatever, for whatever reason. Donald Trump can be duplicitous at times. Now, if you remember, before he was elected, he was all the talk was making Canada our 51st state. I remember the first time I heard him say that, I went, what? What? This nation, which is just massive. You remember Texas used to be our biggest state. Then we appropriated Alaska as our 50th state, 49th or 50th. I think it was 49th actually. Anyway, Alaska dwarfs Texas now, but Canada would dwarf Alaska exponentially, it seems. And I mean, my first impression was, this is just crazy talk. I mean, come on. But this is Trump, folks. This is how Trump negotiates things. He'll make these grandiose pronouncements that sound absolutely just crazy. Absolutely, it's absolute lunacy. Make Canada the 51st. Who has ever said this? Who's ever thought this? And then you start thinking, well, wait a minute. Is he actually serious about this? Maybe he's just jockeying for position. And I think that's probably what it is. He's big on making trade deals with people, big on making trade deals with other nations, big on trying to make a trade deal with Canada. And if he doesn't get his way, he's kind of like a bull in a china shop, or a bully. I mean, he wants to get his way with Canada. Now, I am sorry for let me look at this. I'm sorry for Canada that they keep electing such crappy prime ministers. I mean, they may as well have kept Trudeau for what they have now. I don't see much improvement. There's always a really good candidate available for the prime minister position in Canada, but he never seems to get elected. I guess the last decent one they had was Stephen Harper, maybe. You listen to the voices of Canadians. You remember the truck driver boycott, where Trudeau just dropped the hammer on the working class in Canada, the truck drivers? It just seems to me that it's kind of like the United States. The rank and file Canadian doesn't want to be represented by these woke leftists like Trudeau and this current cat they've got in office. But here we are. So I really wish Canada could get some competent leadership, but it is what it is. We have what we have. I think ultimately Trump is going to probably be conciliar toward Canada. I don't know where things stand insofar as a potential new trade deal goes. Trump's, anytime you bargain with somebody, you start high at an outrageous figure, and they start maybe low, and you negotiate your way down toward the middle. And I think that's where Trump is in terms of trade deals with Canada. I've got no beef with the Canadian people. I love Canada. I know some Canadian people. I think they're wonderful. If you want to go to Alaska by road, you got to go through Canada, right? It's a beautiful country, absolutely beautiful. I've never been, but I've seen videos of Canada, and a lot of the drives you can make in Canada is absolutely beautiful. Canada politically is probably what the United States would have been today had we not had the American Revolution, I'm assuming, because they're still under the crown, right? We have historically had peaceful relations with Canada. This is kind of a blip on the radar, if you will. But there's no reason for us to be at war, quote unquote, with Canada. And I think that things will eventually settle down and normalize between the two nations. And I think we'll be all right ultimately. Trump can only create so much mayhem for so long, but he's out of office in a little over 3 years now, and then we're probably going to get we're definitely going to get someone with a different personality. If it's J.D. Vance, I really doubt Vance has an axe to grind with Canada. Who wants to fight Canadians? I don't. They're good people by and large, as far as I know, and we need to be good neighbors with them. And I think Trump will see the light of day, and I think that things will be normalized between us. That's what I believe anyway. Just a matter of time. I think things will calm down. Okay, a lot more things I could talk about, but I've actually got to get to work. So I wanted to put this video up this morning. Thanks for watching, everybody. Give me your comments down below. Love to hear what you've got to say, and like this video if you would be so kind. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.